This is Plexon, one AI and one marketplace for your assistant, your apps, and your machine. Plexon runs on your own computer. Your files, prompts, and model calls stay on your machine, and the server keeps nothing between requests. Privacy by architecture, not by promise. Everything lives in one marketplace. Skills, agents, plugins, personas, and app connectors, all browsed and installed in one place, with no lock-in. Pick who the AI should be. Each persona brings its own system prompt, agents, skills, connectors, dashboards, and workflows. 12 come bundled, from developer to financial analyst. For a company, put your own brand on the app and set it up with your agents, personas, and skills. New hires sign in, and everything is already there, the same on every desktop. Let's open it up and look around. This is where you get things done, the main chat. Just start typing. Type the @ sign, and it offers what it can reach: your agents, the files in the project, past sessions, even single facts out of your notes. Pick one, and it comes into the message. Keep typing to say what you want it to do. Name a file, and it points at that file. Pick it, and it is attached to your message. Not sure how to word it? Enhance rewrites your prompt with AI, so a rough line becomes a clear one. Then send, and Plexon gets to work. You rarely ask just one question. The second one is usually already in your head. So ask the first one. Send it and read the answer. Then the second question arrives the way it always does. Ask that one too. Send that one as well. While you read this answer, it works out what you're most likely to ask third. The guest sits in the box where you type, grayed out, with nothing to click and nothing in your way. Ignore it, and it costs you nothing. Or press tab once, and it becomes your message, yours to edit before it goes anywhere. One key instead of a sentence. Something occurs to you halfway through. It is not what you asked for, and you do not want to lose your place. Start it on the real job first. It gets to work. Now, while it is still writing, type a BTW and your question. Send that, and it goes somewhere else entirely. A card floats above the box and answers you there. The conversation underneath never sees it. No message in the transcript, nothing added to what it is holding in mind, and the job you started keeps running the whole time. Close the card and it is gone. If the answer deserves more, fork it into a chat of its own. Plexon can do more than text. Plexon ships specialists. One of them draws. Bring it into the message. Then just describe the picture you want and what to say about it. Send it. It draws the picture and writes the words together, and both land in the same reply. No separate tool, no second app. You asked in the chat, and it is in the chat. Plexon writes music. Get one line. A song about a lighthouse keeper who never sees a ship, sad folk. That is the whole brief. No jeito piquer, no que, no tempo. Plexon writes the words first, verses in a chorus, then records them. A song takes about as long to make as it takes to play. A couple of minutes later, the finished song is in the chat. Press play. 3 minutes of finished audio, words and all. The file is already saved next to your work. A first take is rarely the one you keep, so the brief it wrote is open underneath. Not prompt box, the voice and delivery, the genre and instruments, the tempo and key, the arrangement bar by bar, and the lyrics, each its own feel and each editable.
No one knows, I know their name.
Or say what should change in a sentence and leave the rest alone. Either way, it writes a new song from scratch, so the one you already have stays where it is.
A cottage, a coal bin, a pension in time.
Some shots you cannot film and cannot cut together out of anything you already have. A paper lantern rising over a quiet harbor at dusk. 6 seconds. There is no storyboard to fill in and no shot list. One sentence is the whole request. Plexon has 2 video tools and picks between them. This one films something new. The other one builds a video out of cards and footage you already own, which is free and local, so it is the one that gets chosen unless the shot has to be imagined. It writes the shot out in full, then films it. About half a minute later, the clip is in the chat, playing where you asked for it. The file is already on disk next to your work, under a name you can read. A first take is rarely the one you keep, so the shot it wrote is open underneath the clip. The prompt it wrote, the length, the shape, and the resolution, each its own field and each editable. Or say what should change in a sentence and leave the rest alone. Slower push in, warmer light. Either way, it films a new clip from scratch, so the one you already have stays where it is. A finished video is usually a day of work and 3 programs. Here is a description. Say what the scenes are and what each one should say. Plexon lays it into a storyboard, writes the voiceover, times the captions to it, and brands the cards. Then it renders the whole thing here, on your own computer, with no daily limit on how many you make. The finished video lands in the conversation and plays where you're already reading. Change one line, and it recuts that scene. You do not start the storyboard again. You can also change who the AI is. Open the persona browser from the gear. Plexon ships 11 personas, each a focused role with its own tools. Take the stock trader. Click it to preview what it brings. It bundles two market data connections that need an API key. Turn them off to skip them for now. Skip the second one too. Then install it and switch to it. And the stock trader is active, ready to analyze setups and manage risk. It also brings its own dashboard. Open the trader cockpit. A full trading cockpit, live from Plexon's built-in market tools, with no key to set up. Indices and the VIX across the top, refreshing on their own. A featured symbol with its price, its technicals, and where it sits in the 52-week range. Your watch list, the same one the assistant reads and updates for you. Sector performance for the day as a bar chart. Crowd sentiment and analyst ratings for the featured name. And an interactive chart, a whole cockpit, ready the moment you pick the persona. This is workflows. Workflows run a series of steps on a trigger, so routine work happens on its own. This is dashboards. Dashboards are live boards of widgets that show your numbers at a glance. This is skills. Skills teach the assistant a repeatable procedure it can follow on demand. This is agents. Agents are focused assistants you hand a specific job to. This is tools and connectors. Connectors bring outside apps in as tools the assistant can use. This is data sources. Data sources are the spreadsheets and CSVs you import to work with your own data. This is hooks. Hooks run automatically when something happens in the app. This is the marketplace. The marketplace is where you browse and install personas, skills, connectors, and more. That is the tour. Open any panel to dive in. Plexon keeps each capability in its own panel, down the left. This is plans. Plan mode explores read-only and writes one plan you approve before anything is edited. Every plan stays here, ready to implement or change. This is API connections. Import an open API spec or a Postman collection, and every endpoint becomes a tool the assistant can call with your own authentication. This is plugins. Plugins bundle skills, agents, and tools for a whole domain and install in one step. This is the prompt panel. This is where you shape how the assistant writes, the standing instructions it carries into every message in this project. This is schedule. Put any subagent on a cron expression or a simple interval. A job that fails 3 times in a row disables itself rather than filling your notifications. Anything the assistant drafted but did not send waits here until you press post. Issue replies, pull request reviews, and outreach. This is source control. Every file the assistant touched, staged, and diffable before any of it is committed. Every panel has a "What is this?" button. Nothing here needs the documentation. Workflows run a chain of steps on a trigger. Plexon ships several ready to open. Open Greet new contacts on WhatsApp. It fills the screen with room for the whole flow. Click the trigger. It polls Gmail every couple of minutes for a new email, and that starts the run. The first step is a tool call. It reads that email with the Gmail connector. An AI step. Its instruction pulls out the sender and their mobile number, and the output is typed so later steps can use it. A condition. One rule checks whether we have a number, and the flow splits into a true and a false path. On the true path, a WhatsApp tool sends the hello message. On the false path, it emails to ask for the number, waits for the reply, and loops back to try again. The last step notifies you it is done with a title, a message, and where to send it. A trigger, typed steps, a branch, and a notification. That is the whole workflow. Let us build your first workflow. Open the Workflows panel from the sidebar. Start a new workflow. It opens on a canvas with a trigger, the event that decides when it runs. Add a step. Steps are the actions your workflow runs, one after another. Start with an AI step. It can extract, classify, or generate from your data. Tell it what to do. Add a second step so the result goes somewhere. A notification to tell you the summary is ready. Frame the whole flow so every step stays in view. Give the notification a title and a short message. Save the workflow. Then run it. Plexon saves your changes and starts the run right away. And that is it. A 2-step workflow built and running. Dashboards are live boards of widgets. Plexon ships a few. Open the weather and city board to edit it. Open it in the editor. It fills the screen, so click each widget to see how it is built. The header card. Its value is just static text, a title, and a short description. Current conditions. Its source is the weather tool, mapped into stat tiles for temperature, wind, and humidity. A gauge, bound to the air quality tool, on a 0 to 100 scale. The 7-day forecast, a line chart reading the forecast series from the weather tool. Exchange rates, a table from separate rates tool with no key to set up. And the city on a map, from the coordinates the weather tool returns. Each widget names a source and a mapping. Build the board once, and it keeps itself current. Dashboards are live boards you build from widgets. Find dashboards in the sidebar and open it. Start a new dashboard. Start with a header card that describes the board. Drag its corner to run at full width. Select it to open its data panel. Give it a title and a short description. Add stat tiles for the numbers that matter. Size them to hold the whole row. Select the widget. You can type values straight in as JSON. Add a table. This one we will feed from a data source instead of typing. Size it to fit its rows. Select it and switch its source. Change the source from a static value to a connector tool. Pick a connector tool. Then choose a data source, an imported spreadsheet or CSV. Open the list of your data sources. Bind the table to the team metrics CSV. Its rows load straight into the widget. Save it and open the live view to see the whole board render. And there it is, a live dashboard with values you typed and a table fed from a data source. Some work is not one answer. It is the same check over and over. Check Athens now, then every 30 seconds, twice more. Send it. Plexon does not just start looping. It puts a card in the chat and gives the job a name. Attempted, checked, failed, skipped. The tally moves as the job runs, and the reason for each is on the card. Pause and stop belong to this job, not to the conversation. You can hold one without ending the other. A job can outlast its own card. Every live one keeps a row above the message box, so is still reachable an hour later. And when you have seen enough, one click ends that job. The conversation stays open. Connectors are how Plexon reaches the apps you already use. They live in the marketplace. Search for the one you want. Every connector says up front what it will be able to do before you install anything. Install it, and Plexon sets the whole thing up for you. This one links to your own account the same way WhatsApp Web does. Scan the code once with your phone, and that is the setup finished. From then on, its tools are in the chat, and you just ask. Plexon keeps what it learns as plain notes. Here is how anything gets in there. Just tell it. A clinic in Athens, 2 doctors, a patient, the pharmacy it works with, and the protocol that says what happens after a medication change. Send that in as one message. It works out who is who, what relates to what, and writes each one as its own note. That is all of it on disk now, one markdown file each. Here is a question no single note answers. The medication change isn't an instant note. What has to happen next is in the rulebook, and the rulebook never mentions him. Ask it anyway. It goes and reads them and answers with the rule and the pharmacist who applies it. And underneath, the notes it read to get there. Nobody drew a graph. Open it, and there it is anyway. Every person, protocol, and incident with the lines between them. The clinic sits in the middle because it is what everything else is attached to. Click anyone, and their facts come up one at a time. Every one of them carries the file it came from, the line number, and the date. Nothing here is asserted without saying where it was read. A protocol that was replaced is still here, struck through, pointing at the version that replaced it. When the notes disagree, it shows you both. And none of it is a database. It is marked down in a folder on your machine. Delete a file, and its facts go with it. Some questions are really 3 questions wearing a code. Leave Plexon on auto, and it decides how much help a request needs. Ask for the whole comparison in one go, the way you would ask a person. Send it, and instead of working through the 3 one after another, it splits the job up. 3 subagents start at once, 1 city each with its own instructions and its own context. The panel on the right is all 3 of them working. You see what each one has found while it is still finding it, and a bar across the top counting them off. Each one ticks off as it finishes, with the time it took and what it cost sitting next to it. Then it reads all 3 back and writes you one answer. Three researchers, 1 brief, a quarter the waiting. Some questions do not have one answer. They have a few, and you want to see them side by side. Write the task once. Then hand it to several agents instead of one. Plexon reads the task and picks the specialist for it. You can overrule that and choose them yourself, which is what is happening here. Every one of them gets its own copy of the project in its own Git work tree, so they cannot tread on each other. Then they all start. You watch them work in a grid, each tile showing what its agent is doing right now, and you can stop any one of them without stopping the rest. A tile gets a tick when its agent is finished and has something for you to look at. When they have all finished, the grid steps aside on its own. Everything they finish collects in one place, the diff review queue. It gathers the finished work from every parallel run across every session on the machine, so you review it all in one pass rather than hunting for it. Read the diffs, then take the one you want. Discard the rest, and its work tree goes with it. Subagents are gone the moment they answer. Sometimes you want the same group to stay. Describe the team once in the chat, the way you would describe it to a person. Each member gets a role and a brief of its own. The team is written to your project, not held in a conversation, so it is still there tomorrow. A team's panel appears in the sidebar the moment the first one exists. From here, they work as a group. A coordinator hands out the work. Each member has a mailbox on disk that survives a restart, and what one of them learns goes into a knowledge base the rest can read. Set up once. Use it for as long as the project lasts. You can have several chats open on one project. Until now, each of them work blind. Here are two of them on the same folder. Different work in each. Something happens in one of them that the other one needs to know about. Type a chat, and it lists the chats you have open, with whether each one is running or idle. Pick the one you mean. It goes into your message by ID, so renaming that chat later cannot point it somewhere else. Send it. Your assistant reads it and passes it on as one short line of text. You can watch it go. The message lifts off the card that sent it, crosses the window, and settles on the other chat, which marks itself unread, so you know something arrived while you were looking elsewhere. The other chat does not wait for you to go and look at it. It picked the message up and started on its own, in its own conversation, without taking your attention away from this one. Click its tab and go and see. The message is there, marked as coming from another chat rather than from you. One chat never writes into another as though you had typed it. The receiving chat reads it on its own next step and decides what to do. And it has already answered in its own conversation while you were reading this one. Neither chat had to stop and wait for the other, and nothing you were doing was interrupted to make it happen. A chain of replies stops after 2 hops, and typing in either chat resets the count. It is short text only, never your files, and never the conversation, and none of it leave your machine. A conversation is not a transcript you scroll back through. 2 things make it something you can come back to. Ask it something worth keeping. Send it. Let answer. Pin any message from either side of the conversation, yours or its. The pin view in the sidebar collects them. It is a filter on the sessions list, and it searches across every project on this machine, not just the one you have open. Pick one, and it drops you with that exact message. Back to the sessions. The other one is on the session itself. Share exports the whole conversation as one file. The messages, the tool calls, and what it produced. Send it to someone, and they open it in their own Plexon. Or share it live instead, and work in the same session together in real time. Nothing leaves your machine unless you send it. Plexon is not sandboxed away from your computer. Ask for something no button in this app can do. A desktop notification with the weather in Athens, and clicking it opens the forecast map. There is no notification feature here. Nothing in the interface does this. So it writes one. A PowerShell script on your machine, written for this one request, and then run. Then ask for it every morning at 9. Not a reminder inside Plexon. A real entry in Windows Task Scheduler. It rewrites the script to fetch fresh data on every run, registers the task, and fires it once to prove it works. And anything you can type in a terminal, you can type here. A message starting with an exclamation mark runs as a shell command. No tool call, no approval card. It just runs in the session directory. The output comes back as a terminal card, and the task is gone. Set up in one sentence, removed in one line. Some of Plexon is not a panel at all. It is a key away, or one click on something already on screen. Control-K opens the command palette from anywhere in the app. It searches commands, settings, your skills and agents, your sessions, and the files in the project, and it re-ranks as you type. Pick one and it runs. Escape and nothing happened. The book in the title bar is spec-driven mode. Write the spec first, then the plan, then let it work through the tasks. Every artifact lands in the project as a real file you can read, edit, and commit. It follows the GitHub spec kit layout, so the folder is one other tools already understand. Skills are the instructions Plexon loads when a job matches them. And they can rewrite themselves. When a skill gets something wrong and you correct it, the correction goes back into the skill so the next run already knows. You decide whether that happens automatically or only when you approve it. The marketplace is where everything shared comes from. Sources is the other half of it. Publish your own. Point it at a folder or at a private repository only your team can clone. The wizard scaffolds the whole thing. The manifest, the folder layout, and a first item to copy from. From there, it is a Git repository like any other. One more, and it is the one people ask about when they get a new machine. Settings Advanced. Move to another machine writes one file. Your skills, agents, connectors, personas, workflows, dashboards, and settings, encrypted with the secrets sealed inside it. Install Plexon on a new machine, import that one file, and you're where you left off. Plexon has a browser built into it, beside the chat. It is there so you can point at something on your own site instead of describing it. First, it needs a page to look at, so we will have it write one. A small site, in its own folder, served on a port of its own. Send it. It writes the files, starts a small server, and opens the page beside the chat itself. Nobody typed a URL. Then it says what it built and where. It is a real browser with the usual controls, showing a page that is really running on your machine. The crosshair turns on inspect mode. Now, the pane is not just showing the page, it is offering to pick things out of it. Move over the page, and each element lights up under the pointer, whatever it is built with. Click one, and the inspector docks underneath it, with a cropped picture of exactly what you clicked. Beside it are the ways to address that element. Best first, a test hook if the page has one, then a data attribute, then an ID, and a positional path as the last resort. You pick which one the assistant should aim at. Then say what you want in the ordinary way. The message that goes across carries the selector, the size of the window, the element's own markup, its computed styles, and that picture. Send it the same way you would send anything else. It finds the file the button lives in and edits the source. And it reloads the page for you, so the change is already there. Point. Say what you want. Look again. Nothing to install in a browser, nothing to add to your dev server, and it works against anything you can already open. Almost everything about how Plexon behaves is in settings, and it is worth a look through. Settings lives behind the gear at the bottom of the sidebar. Appearance carries 13 themes, and the whole app repaints as you pick one. Win 11 Light and Win 11 Dark follow the accent color you chose in Windows, and let the desktop show through the Chrome. Others are ported from editors you already know. One dark, Monokai, and the rest. And this one is dark, which is the one the rest of this tour is in. Below the themes, font size, zoom, and how dense you want the chat. You can also hide any panel you never open. The sidebar is yours. The Tools tab is what the assistant is allowed to reach for. Answers can come back as real components rather than walls of text. Cards, tables, timelines, checklists. This is the switch for it. Web search and page fetching, code search, and a Figma reader, each one on or off on its own. How many subagents may run at once, and how long any one of them gets. Shell access, with an allow list and a block list you control. File operations decides what it can touch on disk. Read only, ask every time, or let it write. This is the setting most people change first. Then narrow it, folders that are off limits, and patterns that never get read. Speech is both directions, and they are configured separately. Voice chat is hands-free. You talk, it talks back, and the conversation keeps going. Dictation runs on your machine with a model size to your hardware. And it can read replies aloud in a voice you pick. Integrations is where Plexon meets everything else. If you're coming from Claude Code, bring it all across. Agents, servers, hooks, memory in every conversation. Or just migrate the folder for the project you have open. Connect Telegram and your sessions are reachable from your phone. Chat, manage sessions, send images, and watch what the tools are doing. Slack works the same way over socket mode. Message the bot directly or mention in a channel, and a workflow can post there too. Advanced is the long tab, and 2 sections in it are worth knowing about. In the background, it reviews recent sessions and folds what it learned into your memory, dropping what went stale. You set how often. And it learns which of your agents actually finishes which kind of job, so a task that did not name one still lands on the right specialist. Privacy and logging are here too, along with the move to another machine export. That is the tour. You can also just describe a setting in your own words and let the assistant find it for you. That's Plexon. One place for chat, personas, a memory that connects your notes, workflows, dashboards, and a marketplace of tools, all running privately on your machine. Everything you saw, chat, personas, the knowledge graph, agents working in parallel, workflows, dashboards, and the marketplace in a single app. Learn more and download the app at Plexon AI. And for your team, put your own brand on it and preload your setup at Plexon AI/business. Plexon, ready when you are.